It was the golden buzzer heard around the world, but by 2020 the trail had gone cold, leaving millions to wonder if the industry had claimed another victim. In the high-stakes world of viral stardom, few names resonated as loudly as Courtney Hadwin. We all remember the frame, a trembling 13-year-old girl standing on a stage that seemed far too large for her, only to unleash a primal, Janis Joplin-esque roar that shattered every expectation. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated lightning in a bottle. However, as the digital confetti settled, something strange happened. While her peers were being funneled into the usual machinery of reality TV tour and morning show circuits, Courtney seemed to withdraw. The vibrant, chaotic energy that made her a global sensation was suddenly replaced by a deafening silence. Investigative circles in the music industry began to buzz with rumors. Had the pressure of being a child prodigy become too much? Was there a deeper conflict brewing behind the closed doors of her management? For nearly 5 years, the public was left with nothing but old clips and unanswered questions. Fans watched as her social media went quiet and the lion that Simon Cowell had praised seemed to have been muzzled. But as our investigation reveals, this wasn't a disappearance, it was a tactical retreat. While the world assumed she had burned out, Courtney was actually navigating the treacherous waters of a system designed to exploit the young and the gifted. The story of her silence is perhaps even more compelling than the story of her discovery, involving a complex web of legal hurdles and a desperate search for an identity that wasn't manufactured by a television producer. This was the beginning of a transformation that no one saw coming, leading us to the chilling reality of what she has become in 2026. Behind the scenes of the world's biggest talent machine, a quiet war was being waged over the rights to a teenager's creative soul. After her meteoric rise on America's Got Talent, Courtney was quickly ushered into the inner sanctum of Syco Entertainment. On paper, it was the ultimate prize, but sources close to the production suggest a much darker reality began to take shape. The industry has a long, documented history of taking raw, jagged talent and trying to polish it into something more commercially palatable, essentially trying to turn a rock and roll rebel into a predictable pop princess. Rumors surfaced that the label was pushing for a sound that stripped away the very grit that made her famous. When the Syco label eventually restructured, many expected Courtney to be the flagship survivor, yet she was conspicuously absent from the new roster. We've looked into the accusations that surfaced during this period, suggesting a breakdown in communication and a fundamental disagreement over creative direction. She wasn't just another singer, she was a brand that the machine didn't know how to handle without breaking. This legal limbo effectively froze her career, preventing her from releasing new music while she fought to reclaim her independence. It was a period of intense speculation, with many fearing she had been blacklisted for refusing to play the game. Instead of succumbing to the pressure, Courtney chose the difficult path of litigation and patience. This wasn't just about a contract, it was about the precedent of a young artist standing up to the titans of the industry. The cost was years of her prime career, but the payoff would eventually redefine her entire legacy. The struggle she endured during these hidden years laid the foundation for a comeback that would shock the critics who had already written her obituary as a one-hit wonder. While the tabloids speculated about a career in ruins, Courtney Hadwin was secretly rebuilding herself in the cold, grey landscapes of northern England. Retreating to her hometown of Peterlee, she effectively vanished from the London and Los Angeles spotlights. This wasn't a girl hiding from her failure, but a woman in waiting, meticulously deconstructing the prodigy persona the world had forced upon her. During this time, she reportedly spent thousands of hours in home studios, working with obscure producers who didn't care about viral appeal. They focused on the raw, technical evolution of her instrument. Our reports indicate that she deliberately avoided mainstream collaborations, opting instead to find her own streetwise soul. It was a risky move in an era of short attention spans. In the digital age, being out of sight for 5 months can be a career killer. Being out of sight for 5 years is usually a death sentence. Yet there were whispers of secret sessions and leaked demos that suggested something much more potent was brewing. She was no longer that nervous kid in the flared jeans who couldn't maintain eye contact with the judges. She was becoming a student of the blues, an architect of her own sound, and someone who had learned the hard way that fame is a hollow prize if you don't own the voice behind it. The rumors of her losing her spark were debunked the moment she stepped back into the recording booth. She had traded the polish of Hollywood for the grit of Durham, and in doing so she found the one thing the industry couldn't give her: authenticity. As she prepared for her 2026 reemergence, the anticipation began to build, not because of her past fame, but because of the mystery of her present. The stage was set for a reveal that would make her initial audition look like a mere rehearsal. If you think you know Courtney Hadwin's voice, the 2026 tour tapes will prove that the girl you remember has been replaced by a force of nature. As she kicked off her current UK tour, the first thing audiences noticed wasn't the wardrobe or the lights, it was the sheer, terrifying power of her matured vocals. At 21 years old, the lion has finally found its full roar. Technical analysis of her recent performances in London and Newcastle shows a significant shift in her register. High-pitched, almost frantic energy of her youth has settled into a rich, darker mezzo-soprano with a jagged edge that feels far more intentional than before. There's a weight to her voice now that simply wasn't there in 2018. It's a sound that suggests she hasn't just been practicing, she's been living. Music critics have noted that her distorted vocal techniques, once seen as a gimmick, have been refined into a masterclass of soul rock expression. But with this new power came new speculations. Some have questioned the sustainability of such an aggressive style, wondering if she is pushing her vocal cords to a breaking point. However, those within her inner circle insist she has spent the last 5 years working with specialized coaches to ensure her growl is technically sound. On stage, she is a revelation. The social anxiety that once made her tremble is gone, replaced by a haunting, rock star swagger that demands attention. She no longer looks like she's trying to survive the song, she looks like she's dominating it. This isn't just a singer performing a setlist, it's a survivor reclaiming her narrative through every note. The chills reported by fans in 2026 aren't just a reaction to her talent, they are a reaction to her presence. She has become the artist the industry told her she could never be, and the results are nothing short of breathtaking. Her debut album isn't just a collection of songs, it's a scathing investigative report into the dark side of the music business. Released in early 2026, Little Miss Jagged has sent shockwaves through the industry, not just for its sound but for its lyrical content. The title itself is a clear middle finger to the executives who tried to smooth out her rough edges for a mass-market audience. Our analysis of tracks like DNA and Never Say Never reveals a recurring theme, the struggle to maintain one's sanity in a world that treats children like commodities. The lyrics are peppered with references to ghost lines and puppet masters, fueling intense speculation among fans about who exactly she is calling out. It feels like a Drive to Survive style documentary set to music. Courtney isn't holding back. She's using her platform to expose the reality of what happens when the cameras stop rolling on reality TV. The album is a masterclass in defiance, trading radio-friendly hooks for complex emotional arrangements that demand the listener's full attention. It's an investigative journey into her own psyche, documenting the transition from a viral moment to a long-term artist. The industry's reaction has been a mix of awe and fear. While some praise her for her bravery, others worry that her blunt honesty might make her a liability for future major label partnerships. But Courtney doesn't seem to care. She has achieved something few child stars ever manage. She has successfully pivoted from being a subject of the media to being the author of her own story. Little Miss Jagged is her truth, and it's a truth that many in the industry would have preferred stayed buried in those 5 years of silence. Courtney Hadwin's 2026 resurgence isn't just a comeback story, it's a blueprint for the future of every independent artist in the digital age. As our investigation concludes, the most shocking revelation isn't her voice or her album but the way she is doing business. By moving away from the traditional label system and embracing an independent model, she has effectively broken the machine that tried to contain her. She is proving that you don't need a golden buzzer or a billionaire's blessing to sell out venues or reach the top of the streaming charts. You just need a voice that people believe in. Her success in 2026 is a warning to the industry. The days of controlling young talent through restrictive contracts and manufactured personas are numbered. Courtney has become a vocal advocate for artist rights, often speaking about the legal battles she faced to secure her own masters. This move has made her a hero to a new generation of musicians who are looking for a way to navigate the industry without losing their identity. As she prepares for the international leg of her tour, the question is no longer what happened to Courtney Hadwin, but what will she do next? She has turned her dark years into her greatest strength, using the lessons she learned in the shadows to lead a movement in the light. The chills we feel when she performs today are a testament to her resilience. She is a reminder that while the industry can try to silence a voice, it can never kill the soul that powers it. Courtney Hadwin didn't just grow up, she evolved into the industry's most beautiful nightmare, an artist who truly knows her own worth.